sign up for it. You're the best. Thank you so much. So Dave is actually from the Navy, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Did 21 years.
Yes, we do have Navy people here in the state of Texas. Actually, every branch is represented here in the great state of Texas. And so what David is going to bring to us today, and I call him Dave and David, so I'll let you decide what you want to call him. I'm sure he would appreciate Dave or David to be what he's called. But at the same time, we hear so much about activating the military who are at Dyess Air Force Base here in our community. But we have a whole state and we have a whole nation that we can be drawing people back to Abilene to live and work and be a part of our community. So with no further ado, I am going to turn it over to Mr. Dave. And what he said that he'll do is present a little bit about the process, but please enter your questions into the chat as we move along, and he will address those as well. So thank you so much for being here, Dave.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thanks for having me, Helen. Good morning, everybody. My name is Dave Shantz. I did 21 years in the Navy, and I had the opportunity of, when I was leaving the Navy, to do an unpaid internship with GDIT, the company that I work for. I did my internship during the last 180 days from September 2019 to February of 2020. So I did my opportunity, loved every minute of it, got hired on, never stopped talking about it. Some director levels and above in my company saw what I was doing, and they decided to create a position for me, and now that's what I do full time. I lead my company's SkillBridge program. So full disclosure, I don't work for the DoD. I'm just one of their loudest, most active advocates. I do speak with the director on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. So any questions that you have that I'm unable to answer, I will reach out to the director and get you that verbatim answer. Okay, so SkillBridge. So SkillBridge, the SkillBridge program is opportunity for transitioning service members to take part in an unpaid internship or apprenticeship with a company of their choosing for up to 180 days with the high likelihood of being hired at the end. And I know that may be a lot, so I have some quick blurbs already prepared. Let me, I'll place that in the chat if everybody wants to copy it. So basically, this is a train to hire program, right? Taking service members who are still active duty, so they'll be temporarily assigned to your company, and that's not the government doing that, right? That's you going out and seeking out the kind of service members, the actual people that you want to train. And so you would bring them on. You don't have to pay them anything. It doesn't cost the company anything to file, doesn't cost the company anything to become approved, and it doesn't cost the company anything to facilitate. I am the singular piece of overhead for my company's SkillBridge program. That's it. I'm the only person that's getting paid for any level of participation, whether I bring on 5 or whether I bring on 500 people, it doesn't matter. There is no money in this program. So service members have the ability, right, to reach out to companies who are approved to really learn about industry standards and learn about that job from a civilian side. And one of my favorite things about SkillBridge is most people don't get out of the military to do the job that they were doing while in service. And so retraining them is widely beneficial, right? Most service members need some kind of retraining or upskilling. So you have the ability to do that on the free side. Now, when most people get a job, even if they're like the 10 out of 10 for that job description, most people are not ready to hit the ground running on day one. There's almost always some kind of ramp up time, right? They've got to learn the people, they've got to learn the resources, they've got to learn the day-to-day, they've got to learn something about the job. So your money is not making you money on day one when that person sets foot in the office. Well, with SkillBridge, you can take care of all of that on the free side. So on day one, when you offer them a position and they start with you, your money is making money. Okay, so this is a train to hire program. Service members are still active duty, so they're still getting all of their pays, benefits, and allowances from the government, which is why you don't have to pay them anything. And in fact, it's against program guidelines for you to pay them anything. It must be unpaid. This is the only program that the Department of Labor recognizes as an approved unpaid internship opportunity. In 2019, the Department of Labor pretty much said no more unpaid internships. Too many people were companies were taking advantage of people, and not enough people were getting jobs. Those internships were not turning into full-time jobs enough for what the Department of Labor wanted. So this is recognized by the Department of Labor. This is available to active duty service members, reservists, Coast Guard, and National Guard. What else? Any opportunity that your company has can turn into a SkillBridge opportunity. It's just up to you and your team to decide, what opportunities you want to make available. Training. What does training look like? Training could be, do you only want people who are like 80 or 90% qualified? You want to take them on, you want to get them the last, 10 or 20% there to get them fully qualified. Great. Or do you want to take a Navy cook and teach them how to do cybersecurity? That's one of my favorite things about SkillBridge, is because most people don't leave service to do the same thing out of service that they did while in service. Okay. So let me look at the chat. What information docs are filed? Yep, I can go over the filing process. Before I go over the filing process, I love interaction. I love to be interrupted. Does anybody have any questions based on what I said? Okay.
Hi, Dave. Don Green with Abilene Regional Airport, City of Abilene. So I'm also chairman of a committee with American Association of Airport Executives that is an industrial airports and military aviation focus. And we have talked about helping those military members who want to get out, who want to get into airport management, and assisting them in that, and those airfield managers in the Air Force in particular, but any military branch would have people with similar qualifications. What we're looking at is offering maybe through SkillBridge, but those kind of internships to military members in our hometowns. So here in Abilene, of course, it's Dias, but there may not be an opportunity or an intent to hire, but it's to get them that experience so that they can look throughout the country for those airport management type jobs, the operations, airport operations, whatever. So that intent to hire is kind of a caveat there that puts a little bit of a twist on it that I wasn't counting on.
Yep, I appreciate that question. So just kind of, peel the onion back. This program wasn't created because anybody, somebody in DC had a warm spot in their heart, right? Money makes the world go around, and this program is no different. So the DoD spends a ton of money on social programs like unemployment. The DoD is on the hook for the first 2 years of unemployment for all service members when they leave service. And so basically what they're doing is they're spending a little bit of money on the front end by allowing them to participate in a SkillBridge opportunity, paying them all their wages, benefits, and allowances while they're not doing anything military related, in hopes of saving a lot of bit of money on the back end. So really and every company has to submit their numbers back to the DoD, right? DoD collects this information. So to answer your question, if you have an extensive network of companies that do hire folks based on what you're going to train them on, and there's a high likelihood of employment in that direction, then the DoD will absolutely consider you and look at your application and consider you for approval. But if you were just a training site and there was no high likelihood of approval, that's where the DoD starts to look at it like, what benefit is the service member getting? How easy is it going to be for the service member to find work? But if you have an extensive network of companies that you can train the service member and then reach out to the companies and help place the service member with those other companies, that's the same thing as you hiring them in the DoD's eyes. They just want to stop spending money on unemployment. So if you can get that service member trained up and employed, DoD is good to go.
Okay, so as this committee, and this is a national committee, works through this, then I guess we need to, maybe we need some kind of pre-certification from the SkillBridge SkillBridge program for those airports that are going to participate in this. And
So the certifications, if I'm understanding you correctly, if they're like nationally recognized certifications, like, you know, in the IT industry, Security Plus, you know, stuff like that, definitely those would need to be included. So if there was a certification that only your company recognized, that's not something that a service member can take to another company and say, look, I'm certified, you can hire me. If that certification isn't recognized by another company, then your certification in the DoD's eyes wouldn't mean anything. But if you can get them a nationally recognized certification, that would then go further in the DoD saying, okay, this is a nationally recognized certification. This is a good training program. That service member is going to be able to get hired on with another company doing something similar.
okay, thanks.
Dave, can I add on to that?
Please.
Okay, so Don, what I'm hearing you say, and make sure I'm understanding this correctly, Dave, please correct me if I'm incorrect. This program, in terms of SkillBridge, you are very fortunate if you get a full 180 days with a service member, because there's some days that have to be accounted for within that 180 days. So if they have leave time that they've accrued, if they have I just lost it, relocation days that they are being provided, especially if they're retiring. A service member who's separating due to they just finished their obligation versus one that's put in 20 plus years and retiring is going to be a little bit different. But that being said, what this would allow an organization such as the airport to be able to do is to bring on somebody to help them learn how airport operations work on the civilian side, if you will, versus on the military side. So you would be looking at a 30 to 120 days of what does it look like to work in this industry, and what skill sets can we get them to. Then if they're available and you're wanting to hire them, then consider some of those certifications beyond that. The IT world is very particular. The aviation, there's a lot of industry requirements. But if you're wanting to look at bringing somebody in with that kind of experience and giving them an internship, I would really focus on what can be achieved within those 30 to 120, 180 days that would make them want to stay with your company. Does that make sense?
It does, and but the intent of, so let's just say, and we've already reached out to the airfield management group at DIAS and then have had a couple of meetings with them, but not necessarily. And I don't think SkillBridge is going to be our path on this, but offering an internship or a chance to shadow us here with intent of getting that experience of seeing the differences between a civilian airport and a military airfield, how those duties differ on a daily basis, and they can put that on their resume. And more than likely, they're going to be able to use myself or my assistant director as a reference if they apply at DFW airport. But at least it gives them the opportunity to see what a civilian airport is like. But I've got a very small staff here, and we do not have an airfield management type of position created at all. So, and I don't often have openings anyway, but we would really like to help the airfield management staff who are getting ready to separate at DIAS to get that experience with a civilian airport that they would be able to put on their application. Hey, I shadowed at ABI, and I know what these terms are that are separate from or different from what a military airfield uses. So that's really
what do you think about opening up like an education center for your company? Because for SkillBridge, the service member should be trained in a specific job role. So it's not just exposing them to the industry, it's very specific. So does the person want to be a baggage handler? Does the person want to be an air traffic controller? Does the person want to be, airport management? Or it's very specific. What role would you be training them in? And so
it would be very specific to airport management and an operations, what other airports, larger airports call an operations supervisor. type of position where they are going out and inspecting the airfield on a daily basis and correcting issues and recording issues and things like that. So.
Got it. Yeah, if you can create some, well, I guess you can't really, it takes a while to create a certification, but if you can train up to the standard of what other airports need, you can meet or exceed those standards, and you have the network, and it's not having the service member go out and find a job, it's you finding them the job. You're responsible to place them. So if you're able to take that on, then I would say that you have a high likelihood of becoming approved. But if it's just going to be a generic kind of training pipeline, not specific to a position, no employment follow-on employment assistance provided, I don't think the DoD would be very happy with that.
Okay, got it. Yeah, and we're not going to be able to meet that criteria.
Okay. All right. So Sherry did share the link as far as the vetting process. So what I'm going to do is share my screen, take everybody through. Okay. Can everyone see my screen? Can anyone see my screen? Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So all of these links up at the top, when you get to the SkillBridge page, if you Google SkillBridge, it should bring you to this website. This is the new website. All of these links are up top. So you're going to focus on industry partners / employers. It's going to bring you to this page, and then click on the pencil that says how to participate. And this is going to bring up the first form that every company needs to fill out in order to begin the vetting process. It's not very long. You can take care of this in literally less than 5 minutes. But there are a couple things that I'd like to draw your attention to make your job and the DoD's job a lot easier. Most companies, when they get into SkillBridge, they really only stick their toe in, and they want to test things out. And I completely understand. So let's say you only want to start with junior enlisted folks. Okay, got it. In a year from now, if your program were to go well, do you think that you may want to offer it to other ranks of service members? And if you think the answer is yes, what I would do is select any enlisted or officer from the beginning. Okay, think about this like pizza. If you buy one slice of pizza, you can only eat one slice of pizza. But if you buy an entire pie, you can eat whatever slice of pizza you want whenever you want. The same thing is true here. If you select any enlisted or officer, but you only want to gear your opportunities in the beginning towards junior enlisted folks, you can do that. You can execute your program however you see fit. The DoD is not looking to, they're not going to hover over you. Once you're approved, the ball and chain comes off and you're good to go. You're free to execute. So I would suggest selecting any enlisted or officer, so that way you're ready to scale your program whenever you see fit. The DoD is not very fast. If any of you have ever dealt with government, most government agencies and offices are not very fast. So right now I'm seeing between 3 and 8 weeks of approval time that the DoD is going to take to run through your information. So when you submit any new information, that's just going to take more time. The DoD would rather you get approved for the longest or the largest program possible and then execute it how you want, instead of getting approved for little chunks and then going back saying, now I want to do this. Now I want to do this. You're gonna bog down the system if you do that. Okay, so I would suggest doing any enlisted or officer. As far as the branches, I would select all of them. Even if you're only next to a Navy base, got it. Do you think that at some point you may want to bring on an Army soldier or Air Force airman, right? If you think the answer is yes, I would select all of them. You can build your program and just start off by bringing on one flavor of branch if that's what you would like to do. But eventually, do you think that you'd want to open it up to all branches? Okay. Now with this, if you only select Army, as of right now, the Army is the only branch that has their own vetting service. So if you only select Army on this form, the DoD is going to kick it back and tell you to go file with the Army. If you select any of the other 3 branches, the DoD will vet you, because none of the other 3 branches have their own vetting process. But again, I would suggest you select all the branches and then make your opportunities available to whomever you want. This is what I was talking about before. You're willing to retrain military personnel. So are you able to take a Navy cook and teach them cybersecurity? I would check that box. And obviously you're going to want to leverage all the knowledge, skills, and ability of those service members that already have a background in whatever opportunities you want to offer. So if you have IT opportunities, you don't need to retrain a Navy cook in IT. You can actually take Navy IT folks or Marine Corps and put them to work. There's going to be a smaller learning curve there if you take somebody that already has that background. Okay, fill out your email address, phone number, select that you're not a robot, hit submit. Within 1 hour of submitting this form, you should receive a generic response from the program office acknowledging your submission. Within 48 hours of that, you should receive a second email from the program office with a link to their questionnaire, and that questionnaire represents the bulk of the application. So if you come up here to the magnifying glass and you type in SkillBridge questionnaire, prospective industry partner information form, the top one. Okay, this form or some version of this form will be sent to you. Okay, these are the questions to the test. The reason why I say some version of this form is because the DoD does a great job in updating this form to make their job easier and your process easier. So, but some version of this form is what's going to be sent to you. Okay. So don't think tactically when you're filling this out. Don't think tactically, oh, I've got to choose apprenticeship and not an internship, right? Service members don't know the difference between an internship, employment skills training, on the job training. They don't know the difference. Okay. So don't think that you have to call your program one thing in hopes of getting more service members. That's not what's going to drive more service members towards your program. So these are the definitions by the DoD standards. So whatever type of program you think you want to have, read over these definitions, and then on page 18, you have the ability to choose what type of program you want. Okay. Now, most of what's going to be filled out on this form is going to end up on the website for service members to see. Whoops, let me go. And I'll just kind of mirror, right? So when you become approved, you'll be here on the authorized SkillBridge organizations page. Okay. And so the type of opportunity is listed in column number 2.
Okay, you said page 18. How long is this questionnaire?
23 pages. It's not a very long 23 pages. Like this is page 2 and it's just definitions. So it's not a very extensive questionnaire. All of the red asterisks are required to be filled out, but I would suggest if you have the answer for any question that doesn't have a red asterisk to include that, because giving more information to the DoD is just going to make it easier for them to understand what type of program you're going to have, what kind of company you are, and have them make their decision.
And so what's going into this decision? What's this vetting? What am I being judged on or, reviewed on?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the DoD doesn't release their internal checklist. It would be very easy for companies to say, if they had that checklist, to say, oh yeah, we have that, right? So they don't release their checklist, but everything that they are looking for is contained in this form. And then they're going to go do their due diligence, right? So they're going to go look at your website. They're going to go look at your jobs. They're going to go, make sure that you're not being, indicted by the SEC for fraud or, anything like that. They are making sure that your company is in good standings, that you don't have any, bad issues, legally or anything like that, where you're mistreating folks. You don't have charges against you, bad business practices, stuff like that. So their internal checklist is internal to them. They don't release it, but everything that they need to know is contained right here on this checklist, on this vetting sheet. Okay.
Dave, Amy Morris, and I know that there's been a couple of people who have talked about this. You stated that it takes 3 to 8 weeks for the vetting process. She is stating that it's been more than 10 weeks and she hasn't heard from them. What do you recommend to people who have submitted applications in terms of response time? Because there's not really a contact phone number.
Right.
Yep. Give us a call.
Yep, that's a good question. So when you submit anything to the DoD, their system does not have the ability to store information long-term. So if there's 30 days that elapse without communication between you and the DoD, your application has been deleted. I hate to say it, but it's been deleted. Okay, the DoD doesn't have the ability to chase down companies. And when they first built the system like that, one, it's because of money, the amount of money that they had to build the system, and two, they knew that it was going to be popular and they were never going to chase down companies. Now it's the reverse. Now the lack of communication most of the time is because of them, is on their side because of their workload. So even though the lack of communication is their fault, it ended up being your problem. So anytime I communicate with the DoD, the first thing I do is send them the email. The next thing I do is go directly to my calendar and I count out 21 days. On the 21st day, I put a reminder in my calendar to say, if you have not heard back from the DoD, reach back out. On that 21st day, if I haven't heard anything, I reach back out to the DoD and I say, hey, I submitted this information on this day. Is there anything else that you need from me in order to move the process forward? What that does is it resets the communication timeline to another 30 days. Okay. So that way, the lack of communication may be the DoD's fault, but it's not going to be your problem this time. You're keeping on top of it. So if it's been 10 weeks since you've heard anything from the DoD, there's a high likelihood that your application has been deleted. And I would start from the beginning with that industry partner / employer page again.
So who or how do you contact them? Because it doesn't make it really easy.
Yep. So here, I'll put the so this is their intake email address that I'm going to put in the chat.
Yeah, Isaac asked the same question. So thanks, Isaac.
Okay, so that should read, and I put too many S's in assistant. I apologize. It's DoD Assistant Center at livehelpnow.net. That's going to be their intake.
Okay.
Now, if anybody's having a lot of issues, I'm free to share the director's email address if you're having that many issues. Now, other people from the director's team may reach out to you from their work email. I can't share that because I don't want to overload them. But if they reach out to you with their work email address, you're free to email them back from the same email address that they email you from. But that is their intake system. Any questions that you have, you're basically going to be given a ticket number. You're going to be entered into their system, and then that's the process. You would reach out to them like that, and then they'll get back to you in some order. I don't know what order. I apologize.
It's okay, Dave. It did not come through on the chat. You want to say it one more time, and I'll just type it in while you type.
Yeah,
it.
DoD.
Okay.
SkillBridge. Assistance Center at livehelpnow.net.
Wow.
Yep.
Does that look right? .net.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah. So that'll get your foot in the door. If anybody's having a whole lot of issues, the director has authorized me to share his email address. I can do that. You can poke him directly. So I apologize to hear about your 10 weeks. I know that's a long time, but now with this new information of never letting 30 days go by without communication, I think it's going to be much easier, much faster for your company to become approved. Did you? And that's Amy. Amy, did you receive the second email with the link to the questionnaire? Did you submit that questionnaire? You can take yourself off mute if you'd like. Okay.
Now I can.
Okay, yes, I did get that link, and so I had filled out everything. If anything, I was thinking maybe I didn't do a thorough enough job, and maybe I got kicked out. But yes, and then I think on that main website, there was a contact us link, and so that's what I did yesterday or Monday. And it just said exactly, I submitted my application on October the 2nd. I haven't heard anything, can you check the status, please? And then I did receive an email back, and it's kind of a chain link of it showed the email that, or the inquiry that I had sent on October 2nd, and then I had sent one back in June.
Yep.
So they had my info. It's kind of crazy that we have to take our time to just basically redo this every 21 days, but I guess it's good. We don't have to redo the whole application. We just have to send them an email inquiring about it every 21 days.
Yes. Yep. Exactly. And that's actually really impressive that you received the response from the contact us function on the SkillBridge site. And this isn't bad mouthing SkillBridge. Honestly, you are the second person in thousands of people that I've spoken to that have ever received a response. I'm not even kidding. You're number two. I initially thought that function was turned off or it wasn't monitored because nobody has ever received a response from the DoD like that. So congratulations. That is a feat that only 2 people that I now know have gotten.
Yeah, I think it was just an automatic response though. It didn't seem like it was anything.
Oh yeah. Yeah. What their system does is whenever, at least for the DoD Assistance Center email, whenever you email them, it always spits out a generic email saying that they've received your information and they'll get back with you shortly or something like that. But the contact us, that's different. You're like I said, you're the number 2. You're number 2 that I've ever heard of getting a response back. So that's impressive. We're moving in the right direction.
Okay.
David,
Okay.
we experienced another question recently.
Okay.
How thorough or how detailed, thorough may be the wrong word, but how detailed do the training materials need to be? That outline of how you are taking this person through 30 days, 60 days. I mean, do you need to break it down that much, or should you just have one whole 180 days? That's it.
Yeah, it's a good question. So the DoD, as of right now, does not collect training plans. On the questionnaire, towards the bottom, it's like page, 17, 18, something like that. It does ask if you have them. That's all they want to know. They just want to know that you have an idea of what you're going to do with that service member. The Air Force and the Army, the Air Force and the Army do collect training plans. Okay. So the DoD allows a certain bit of autonomy for each branch to run their SkillBridge program how they see fit. The Air Force program is vastly different from the Navy program. So the Air Force and the Army do collect training plans. The Navy, Big Navy, and Marine Corps do not require it. However, individual Navy commands may ask for it. What I do for a training plan is because there needs to be a high likelihood of employment, which means that there should be a job open or another job that's going to be open in the future for that, is all I do is take the job description and I reorganize the bullets, right? The job description bullets in a crawl, walk, run fashion. When you read a typical job description, it is not written in a easy to hardest kind of method, right? It's usually what is going to take the most amount of your time, what's the biggest impact that you're going to have in that position, all the way down to what are you going to spend the least amount of time on and what's the least impactful, right? So all I do is reorganize the job description that the recruiter has made and put it in a crawl, walk, run fashion to show how I'm going to step up that service member and train them on this job, right? It's a train to hire program. We can't start day one with the hardest system of having them, invoice, do everything that's the difficult part, right? We got to take them through the system. How do you do the system? How do you navigate the system, right? What are the resources of the system? What are the different pages, right? All that stuff. So reorganize your job description in a crawl, walk, run fashion. And that's what I turn into a training plan. And that's it. And I've only gotten one training plan rejected. And honestly, that's because that education counselor was unaware of the process. She was trying to enforce something that was not enforceable. And so that's the only reason why it was rejected. But every training plan I've ever submitted, good to go.
Would you be willing to share a sample of a training plan?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, great.
Can I email it to you? I'll take some logos and some personal company, information out.
Oh, yeah,
and then you can
definitely.
email it out to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll send them the link with the video and your document, as well as some links. I think Bo has some questions. Bo, were you going to ask a question?
Yeah. So basically, my question is, along the lines of what you just talked about. So the examples that they give on the website, the Excel spreadsheet, I mean, very detailed out, hour by hour training plan, that's not really necessary.
No, it's
Okay.
not. So that may be what the DoD is suggesting, but that's not mandated. And remember that each branch has the ability to approve or deny service members to participate. So if you submit a training plan that's too vague or doesn't really show how you're going to get them from A1 intern, get them all trained up and ready to be hired as that position, right? Whatever that position is, then they may kick it back and want some more information. They may ask for more details, like, you know, split it up week by week. What are you gonna train them on? But the thing is, the reason why it doesn't need to be that detailed is because during the last 180 days, I don't know if anybody here is familiar, but when service members go to either retire or separate, they take their medical record and they present it to the Department of Veteran Affairs. They have the ability to say, I have been hurt while on military service. There are some issues that I have that are not corrected and that may never be corrected. And they get to seek compensation from the Department of Veteran Affairs. The VA will not talk to them until their 180th day, which coincidentally is the same day that they could start a SkillBridge opportunity. So in my 6 months of SkillBridge time, I had appointments scattered throughout the 6 months. And altogether, I would probably say that I missed 2 weeks of time. Across six months, I maybe missed 2 weeks of time with all the appointments that I have. And just to let you know, I had 2 pages of issues that I wanted the VA to rate me on, to take a look at me for. I'm 100% disabled by the VA. And so, you know, you're not really going to get many service members who are going to need at least 2 weeks or more. Most service members are going to need less time off. The other thing is they have to sign documents, right? There's a little bit of administrative work that has to go into it. Insurance. There's a form, DD 214, right? That's basically their end of service form, where everything that they've done is on that form in a very simple format. And that is their basically process out of the military document that companies like to see. But yeah, so out of 6 months, right, you're not going to be missing the service member for very long. But if you take a look at an opportunity and you say, okay, I need a service member in the seat for 90 days, and you bring on somebody who can only give you 90 days, you didn't set yourself or the service member up for success, because inevitably the service member is going to need time off. So what I would do is identify the position that you want to make available, identify what is the minimum amount of time that you need them in the seat for, and then add fluff to it, right? So if you know that you need them in the seat for at least 90 days, extend it out at least a month. Not to say that the service member is going to need a month off, but at least it builds time for you. So that way, if they miss any time, it's not detrimental to their internship, right? You can afford that time off for them, allow them to take care of everything that they need to, and still have the time to train them properly and get them up to speed as far as what you need them to learn. And oh, by the way, if a service member were to report that a company is not allowing them to go to their VA appointments, the DoD would be very upset with that. So we got to support them in that. Now, some service members choose not to file with the VA, and I think that's a terrible decision. But some choose not to. What other questions?
So Dave, about a month ago, well, I don't even think it was a month, maybe 3 weeks ago, Dice Air Force Base held a meeting, invited some of the industry partners to the meeting where they debriefed with active duty airmen who are looking at separating or retiring. And we got to sit in and listen to that debriefing. One of the things that was noted is that the service members don't always know about SkillBridge. Do you have recommendations for when these companies do become vetted and approved, in how to market themselves to the military personnel who are looking at these opportunities?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'm going to go back to screen sharing mode. So how you share opportunities, right? The DoD is not going to control that. So if you want to take out a flashing billboard on I-10 saying that you have SkillBridge opportunities, amazing. DoD is not going to stop you. Now, there are some places where service members' eyes typically go and where I teach service members to look, okay? Again, can you see my screen, Helen? Thumbs up? Okay, good. So right now I'm on LinkedIn Jobs, okay? And every week I do this search. So right now I did DoD SkillBridge on LinkedIn Jobs is showing US wide. There are 251 individual SkillBridge opportunities right now listed on LinkedIn Jobs, okay? So you click on the opportunity, you read the job description, you get to apply, okay? Then there's Google, right? If anybody's ever tried to find a job on Google, same thing with SkillBridge. So right now it's going to share with me only San Diego because that's where I am. So same thing, opportunity on the left, job description on the right. Okay. You can do a generic SkillBridge post, right? An open, whoops, SkillBridge. I do this search every day. And so let's do that. All right, so let's see. This is okay. This is not SkillBridge. So there are other types of SkillBridge out there, but that's not. So this is the office, actually, JBSA. They're pretty close to you. They have a very engaging SkillBridge office. Very engaging. Here, Northwestern Mutual. Northwestern Mutual has a SkillBridge program, right? So this is their open post, right, on open LinkedIn. So you have the ability to market how you want. Now this is the group that I'm the administrator for. And once you become approved by the DoD, I'd be happy to have you in the group. So the group was started in June of 2019, and we already have more than 17,000 people. And I only allow 3 types of people in the group. One's going to be service members. Number 2 is going to be company reps, DoD approved company reps who have SkillBridge opportunities to offer. And the last are going to be transition counselors. Transition counselors have no vetted interest or vested interest, excuse me. So this group, I don't know how many other groups you're a part of on LinkedIn. I'm a part of about 4 dozen. This group has way more engagement than any other group on LinkedIn that I've ever seen. Okay. So this person posted something 12 hours ago, getting some engagement. People ask and answer questions all the time. Okay. We have employers. This lady's an employer, Chelsea, and she's with Tritium. They are DoD approved, and she's sharing opportunities. Okay. She's getting some love in the group. Okay. What I usually do on Fridays that I didn't do last Friday is, as the administrator, the LinkedIn gives me the ability to force one post into, give me a second, I'm trying to bring it up here, into everybody's timeline. So if they don't normally engage with the group for whatever reason, they're going to see this post. And so what I do is I consolidate all the opportunities that were shared to the group in that week, and I consolidate it into one document, and then I force it out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to help drive traffic to your opportunity. Not only do I share it in the group, I share it on open LinkedIn, and I share it in a couple other groups that do have engagement. Okay. So I'm going to help push people to, in your direction. You have the ability to ask and answer questions in the group. I don't act like a middleman in the group. I don't allow anybody else to act like a middleman. I want you to get the kind of service member that you want. And I want service members to get the kind of opportunity that they want. So I don't allow any kind of middleman. I want you to be able to connect directly with those service members and make sure that you're getting the kind of person that you're looking for. Okay. So I'm going to help boost your marketing. Okay. Oh, here's a couple things that I want to highlight. I didn't finish going over this. Some of these questions are like just data collection questions. Like there's one question in here. Are you a Fortune 1000 company? Who cares? It doesn't matter. That is just the DoD collecting information here. Are you a Fortune 1000 company? So you don't have a leg up if you are a Fortune 1000 company, and you're not starting off on the wrong foot if you're not a Fortune 1000 company. This is just a data collection question. Okay. So what I want to do is showcase page 11. Okay. So here you have the ability to highlight what kind of opportunities you're going to make available to service members. What I would do is select all of the boxes that your company employs for, okay? Even if they're not opportunities that you're going to make available right now, you want the SkillBridge site to start advertising for you, okay? So this is where it goes. All the boxes that you select go here, functional area / job family, okay? So in June of 2021, my company looked like this. We were listed, but we didn't have, we weren't getting any kind of real traffic because the SkillBridge website wasn't advertising for us, okay? I refiled in July 2021, and now my company looks like this. This is a keyword search box. I'll go over that in a minute. Now my company looks like this. So if any of these terms are thrown into this box, my company will come up. My company will be one of the ones that come up. Here's why this is important, okay? We have over 1,500 companies. Imagine a service member going company by company saying, do you have something for me? No? Okay. Do you have something for me? No? Okay. So now what we can do is, let's say your bread and butter is, let's do aviation, because that gentleman said he was in aviation, right? So this keyword search box goes off of 2 columns. One is going to be the organization's name. The other is going to be the functional area / job family. So aviation is not in their name, but it's here. Aviation is in their name. Aviation's in their name. It's not in their name here, but it is here. Okay. So what we just did was we took 1,565 companies and filtered it down to 41. Much more manageable for service members. You want to be found by service members. You want to make it easy for service members to find you. This is where you do that. Select all of the boxes of the types of roles that your company employs for, because eventually you could create a talent pipeline for those roles, right? For that branch, division, team, whatever the case may be. Now check this out. That's only about a page long. That's only about a page of opportunities that the DoD is recognizing, and they're in alphabetical order. So cyber, this is 2021. There are 500,000 cyber jobs in this country alone. How is cyber not listed here? Here's what you do. If you're unable to find the job that you're looking for, type it in this box. Most companies don't know that. Okay, here's what this does for you. Again, let me show you my company. From here to here are all the boxes that I selected. From here to here is everything that I typed in to this box right here. Okay, so go into your internal system, see what opportunities, and it doesn't have to be specific like office manager, right? Like you would classify office manager under, administrative, right? Something like that. So generically specific titles, generically specific types of roles, right, is what you're looking to highlight here. And so if the opportunities that you're looking to make available are not listed on these boxes, then you would just type it into this box. If you become approved, your information will be on the website and it'll be very easy for a service member to find you like that. Okay. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. A couple of the things that I want to go over: clearances. Okay. During the time of SkillBridge, your company will not own the clearance. So you will only be able to utilize the clearance that the service member has. So if a service member has a secret clearance and your company has a top secret opportunity, you wouldn't be able to put them on that top secret opportunity because the service member, the DoD is not going to pay for a bump in clearance, nor is your company able to. So during the time of SkillBridge, you're able to use their clearance. Once you hire them, you would then own their clearance, and then you can manipulate it up and down, whatever it is that you need for them. Is there anybody on the call who has DoD funded contracts? Okay. Is there anybody who has federally funded contracts, non-DoD? Okay. I see Stacy shaking her head. Okay. So no SkillBridge labor may be charged to any federal entity. Okay. DHS, FEMA, DEA, CIA, whatever the case may be. No federal entity may be charged for any SkillBridge labor. I invite you and your legal team to check on your contracts for state and below, right? State, city, private, right? Check on those contracts. If there's nothing that states you cannot charge for internship labor, then that may be another way for you to make more money. But for federal contracts, whether it's DoD or not DoD, doesn't matter. No federal entity may be charged for SkillBridge labor. So the customer, right, in this situation, is going to make out like a bandit, right? Because once you teach them, the service member, something, then that customer is basically getting free labor, right? Just like your company is, but they're getting free labor for a task that maybe you can assign to a service member to do weekly or monthly or something like that. So they're making money by not having to pay your company for any SkillBridge labor. However, it benefits you on the front side because once you hire them, you're not going to have to teach them that skill after you hire them and you start paying them. So there's benefit for you as well. What else? I'm gonna go back to the chat. And Helen, if you want to help me, if there's anything that you think I forgot.
No, I think you covered quite a bit here. I think them hearing from somebody who actually has gone through the process. I know that one person on here for sure is vetted already. And so I will encourage him to get into your group on LinkedIn as well. We have 2-3 companies on here. I'm looking at 4 that are going through the vetting process. As you heard Amy, she's been waiting a while, but you really relieved a lot of anxiety, I think, for a lot of people, because it was all about this work plan of how do you put that out there? And it was looking daunting because they provided that spreadsheet. And so when the government provides a spreadsheet, you assume you need to fill it out. So that's very, very helpful.
Yep. I see Sherry in the chat. So I think Sherry is are you a transition counselor, Sherry? Veteran employment. So there are, what is it, LV or local veteran employment representatives, which is separate from a transition counselor. It's like a state-run transition counselor. So like for the Air Force have to go through the education office in order to get their opportunity approved. Now here's something else that reminds me of something. The Air Force, Army, Marine Corps all put the cart before the horse. The service member must secure a SkillBridge opportunity before getting approved to participate. Most companies want to know, do you have permission to participate before they line up an opportunity? So just be aware that you're going to have to come up with the opportunity first. And I tell service members to lie. I'm a company representative. Lie to me all day. Tell me that you've gotten approval even when you haven't, because I know that you need to get that opportunity, or the service member needs to get that opportunity in writing before they're going to get approval. Okay, so keep that in mind. What else? Texas Veterans Commission. So municipalities, one of my favorite things. The entire state of Virginia has a SkillBridge program. The entire state of Florida, Indiana, Idaho, Nebraska, they all have SkillBridge programs. Okay, municipalities, this is one of my favorite things about SkillBridge. Municipalities see the benefit of service members and want to draw service members back to their local municipality. Okay, I met with Texas Veterans Commission a couple months ago. They were very interested, but they were just looking at how they were going to make it work, what division SkillBridge was going to be under. So Sherry, if you're with TVC, I'd love to connect with you and talk more about it. I can get you the name of the director that I met with a couple months ago. I'd love to see the progress, or if there's any questions that TVC has, but I would love to see TVC become approved. I think I don't know of another organization that does more for their service members than TVC. So I think that would be huge. Texas is definitely one of those locations where more service members transition to that location than others. And you can also find that on the SkillBridge website, which, give me 1 second, I will show you. Let me go back to screen sharing mode. And then here's where it says military separation data. Here's something, is that service members, you can bring service members on from any location. And if you have remote opportunities, they don't necessarily need to come back to Texas, right? Because you can, if it's remote, then you'd be able to facilitate it in any location. So military separation by state is what we're looking at right now. Okay. Purple, here's the legend. Purple, 5,000 or more. And this is as of fiscal year 2018. So it's a little old, but Texas is one of the top states. Okay. So you can see obviously the ocean states, right? Everybody flocks to the ocean. And then of course, Texas. Okay. Now here's something else is military separation by base. These are the amount of people that are transitioning out of service by location, by installation. Okay. And again, 5,000 or more we're looking at. So what you're looking at is red is 500 to 1,000. So in middle America, there are a lot of people that are transitioning out. And if you use that information in conjunction with what I just showed you, a lot of them are moving to Texas. Okay. All right. All right. So municipalities. So Sherry, if you want to get with me offline, I would love to learn what TVC is doing. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the chat. Jasmine. So Jasmine, to answer your question, I only have people added to the group who are representing DoD approved companies. So once your company becomes approved, I'd be happy to get you in the group. Let me get with you offline. I see your contact information, and let's talk through that a little bit more.
I will
Sounds
also
good. Thank you.
I'll also send you their contact information, Dave, so that you have which companies were on this call. Dave is doing this for free for us today. It has been such an honor to be able to get to meet him, his energy and his excitement. Jasmine put Dave is awesome. I think this has been really, really helpful in a lot of ways. We are hopeful that we can bring Dave out in the spring and possibly walk us through some more. But in the meantime, please get your applications in. We will try to connect you to resources as much as possible. Sherry was on here, making sure that we connect you with the base here, but also beyond. Don't be just thinking about what's happening right here in this community. We have a whole great state that provides a lot of benefits for retiring veterans. Dave, if you want to move to Texas, we'll take you here too. We would love to have General Dynamics back in Abilene, so just let us know.
Sure.
But thank you everybody for being on this call today.
Do
Dave,
we have more time? Because there's more information that I'd like to share. It's all beneficial.
definitely, if people want to stay on,
Okay.
go for it.
Okay, so Amy asked for the person that's getting vetted, how long did it take you? So I helped L3 Harris become approved. It took them 3 weeks to become approved. Okay, I believe, and this is not factual, I believe that when the DoD gets applications, provided all the information is there, I believe that they look at a larger company, like a large defense contracting company, and they may prioritize them because they want to get them up on the website. They want to get that company involved in SkillBridge, right? Especially if they're going to have a big footprint. So I know that L3 Harris only took about 3 weeks from when they started filing. There are some other companies that as long as you stay on top of the DoD, I'm seeing 3 to 8 weeks as being the timeline for companies to become approved. Oh, here's something, is that every DoD approved company has the ability to act as a middleman. So if anybody has ever heard of Hiring Our Heroes is probably the largest third-party approved vendor through SkillBridge. On paper, service members are doing their SkillBridge opportunity with Hiring Our Heroes. Physically, nobody is doing their SkillBridge opportunity with Hiring Our Heroes. They're all being placed with companies like Verizon, Walmart, USAA, Wells Fargo, other companies, okay? Every DoD approved company has the ability to act as a middleman. So what that means for you is if you wanted to advertise for one of the companies in your network, right? Let's say you become approved and another company in your network is like, wow, that's really interesting. They want to test it out, but they don't want to go through the administration burden up front. You can facilitate a SkillBridge opportunity for that company with a service member. Now you own that internship, which means if that service member is mistreated in any way, the DoD is going to turn around and look at you because you have the signed agreement with them, not that other company. And I say that only because on very rare occasions, it has happened. There has been a company that's been removed because they facilitated opportunities with companies who mistreated service members. So I want to be open and upfront with you. But so if you bring on a service member, train them and hire them, that's good. That's a positive number for you. If you bring on a service member to train them and then you help them get employment with another company, that's a positive number for you. If you bring on a service member, give them to another company and they train and hire them, that's a positive number for you. The only time when it's not a positive number is when the internship does not turn into a full-time job. If the service member needs to go on some kind of unemployment, then that's a failure, right, in the eyes of the DoD. The DoD draws a line to say 85%. They want to see at least 85% of the interns that you bring on offered full-time roles, whether it's with you, whether it's with companies that are in your network, whatever the case may be. They just want the service member employed. That is the purpose of this program, train to employ. Okay,
Dave, I've got a question for you. If
Yes, sir.
you've got time. We are a Ford dealership.
Mhm.
You mentioned states and municipalities having DoD approval. Say we have a Ford dealership that's in our network somewhere. Can we slide in somehow under them, or does every situation, every location need to have their own vetting? I mean, how does that play in?
Yep, that's a great question. So if the entire Ford Motor Company got approval, you would not need to file. And that's selfishly, that's what I would love. I would love for the entire Ford Motor Company to gain approval, because if your dealership gets approval, then only your dealership is approved. The other Ford, warehouses and dealerships would not be approved, and they would have to go through the approval process unless your dealership facilitated that opportunity. So selfishly, if you have time, I would love for the largest entity of Ford possible to become approved. But if timing is of the essence and you're chomping at the bit, you really want to participate, then your Ford dealership can file, become approved, participate in SkillBridge, and then you can help spread the word and have other Ford dealerships. But I know that the DoD would absolutely love if big Ford company got approved and then helped the individual entities participate, instead of having multiple, a dozen different or so Ford entities file for approval.
We are an independent dealership, but our job opportunities would extend to any Ford dealership or any Ford operated plant in the United States or beyond. I mean, that's what I'm seeing is the bigger picture, the bigger opportunities here. We're just a small fish in a big pond, but as far as availability and future possibilities for service members, they're infinite. So I would love to be a part of that, and we'd love to help facilitate that. So any help we could get in that would be great.
Yep. So I do know that the previous administration, so the last Undersecretary of Defense, which is who actually approves these applications. So when you file, right, it's either by direction that the director approves you, right, or the Undersecretary of Defense is the one who's actually signing his name. The last Undersecretary of Defense did not think very highly of sales, right? Because if you teach somebody how to sell cars in a classroom and they're your number one star, but then they hit the pavement of the dealership and they can't move any units, a lot of times, and maybe not in your instance, right, but in a lot of other cases, that person would be out of a job, right? If they're not making the company money, then the company doesn't need to retain them. So the DoD didn't like sales before. They're open to it now. And they would love to know that if the service member failed in sales, is there something else that you can train them in order to retain them and keep them, working? So
we're actually looking at more of the training technicians, automotive technicians.
Perfect.
Yep. There's a massive shortage of technicians everywhere right now. So that would be more our focus.
Awesome. That would be widely beneficial because, like you said, they can take that piece of paper and wave it to another Ford dealership and probably get a job instantly.
Exactly. It's universal everywhere. Once you're Ford certified, you're Ford certified. So
yes, sir. That would be perfect.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, so I'm looking at Amy. What kind of chance do small businesses have with this program? That's a really good question. So COVID really threw some things for a loop. There are some small businesses now with the DoD, and remember that they are one, they're vetting for their pocketbook, right? If they don't think that a company has the ability to offer full-time, long-term employment, they may, they may not approve that company. So here in San Diego, 40% of the restaurants that had to close for COVID closed for good. So the DoD is taking a closer look at smaller businesses. Do they think that you're going to be able to withstand an economic crisis? And I don't mean this in a bad way, right? So please forgive me. I do hope that everybody is staying happy, healthy, and safe during COVID. But for the last 10 years, there has been some cool new disease that has come out, right? H1N1, swine, MRSA, right? Whatever the case may be. For some reason, COVID is the big thing, okay? Is your company going to be able to withstand another economic crisis like COVID-19? And if the DoD feels that you can, then they may approve you. And you know, obviously there's other factors, right? Looking into your company and what kind of program you have. There was a company in Texas, it was like a nail salon that filed to become approved, and they were denied because a nail technician does not get to earn the kind of money that will keep a service member off of social programs. Even if a nail technician did it for 8 hours a day, 12 hours a day, they would still never make the money that would keep them off you know, social programs or be able to live a life outside of mommy and daddy's house. So that nail technician facility was denied because the type of money that the service member would earn would not afford them a life independently. So if we're talking about that as far as a small business, yeah, the DoD is going to look at, is there going to be any kind of economic impact to them? And if they feel that the service member would still rely on social programs, then the company is likely going to be denied. But if you can show that you are, that you've been around for a while, you've got a good model, you can withstand COVID, you know, you can withstand an economic downturn, then the DoD will likely vet you. Isaac asked, what is the offer? What if the offer is not taken? It was offered, but he's going home to run a family business. Okay, so yeah, I've heard about that. And part of that you may be able to take care of on your end, right? Really honing in your screening process, asking the service member, holding interviews, right? Really getting a sense for what the service member wants to do. I know that there are some other companies who have had something similar where, like my company, just a couple months ago, I had a service member leave her SkillBridge opportunity with my company to go pursue college. Okay, you know, I'm glad that she wants to better herself, but had I known that that was the intent, we would have never extended a SkillBridge opportunity for her. She didn't make that known up front, and that's just kind of the chance that we take. I hate to say it like that. There's no repercussion. You can't, you know, attack the service member. You can't go back to the DoD and, you know, wave the flag and say, hey, this person, that's not fair, anything like that. That's just an L that we have to take as companies. But you may be able to you know, hold a better information session or interview session up front to gauge the service member's intent on what they plan to do, and then, you know, go off of that. So that would be a negative number for you, unfortunately, because it was the service member's choice. Now here's something, here's what would turn that into a positive, is if you would have offered that service member a job, then it's a positive number for you. If the service member leaves early or you let them go early, that would be a negative number. But if the service member goes all the way through and you would have offered, or you did offer them a job and they declined it, that's still a positive number for you because you met the intent of the program. You met the intent of the program. If they decided no, right, because there's no guarantee in SkillBridge, right? If the service member doesn't perform up to speed, you don't have to offer them a job. And if the service member doesn't like your company culture or the job that you're having them do, they don't have to accept a full-time role. And so in this instance, maybe the person didn't like what you were doing, but did you offer them a job? If the answer is yes, that's still a positive number for you. So you're still within the 85% that the DoD wants. Jasmine says, I just want to let everyone know I'm working as a consultant to help companies get awesome. Okay, perfect. The goal is 85%. Finishes SkillBridge, and we did make an offer. Perfect. Yep, Isaac, then that's a positive number for you to report. Yep. That's unfortunate that you went through all the training, but in the DoD's eyes, you met the intent of the program. And so that would be a positive number for you. Awesome. I'm at the bottom of the chat. What questions have I caused for you?
Call for questions. Anybody got one last question for Dave while we have him on the line? Counting to 10 in my head takes really a long time. Okay, it looks like, oh, good. I think we got some great feedback, and I am so glad that you did this, Dave. You are amazing. You are a wealth of knowledge, and I think this is going to help spur our community in another direction. And I think that is what we wanted to see happen here. Again, I'll wait to get the sample from you as well as the recording. I will get that out to all of you and let you know the next time we can bring Dave out here, because I think he would love Texas and end up moving here.
That is on my short list.
Yes, good. All right. Well, everybody have a great day. Dave, thank you very, very much. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all.
Merry Christmas. Thanks, everyone. Thank you for having me, Helen.